So I've been sent this EcoFlow Delta 2 Max completely out of the blue. I didn't know they were going to be sending me this for review. Back in September, I reviewed the Delta Max, its predecessor, and now this is the update for that one. So it'd be interesting to see what's changed. So this is a review of the EcoFlow Delta 2 Max. It's been sent to me free for review. They're not paying me to say anything nice, so this is going to be my honest review of what they've sent me. It's a 2048 watt-hour power bank. Now, I've been using its predecessor, the Delta Max, in the motorhome most of the time since we got it, so it's actually nice to get a bit of an upgrade. In this video, I'm going to look at the controls and the screens. I'm going to look at the specifications, the weight and the size, tell you the price, show you what it can power and what it can charge, show you how I'm going to be using it, and I'll give you my honest opinion. So specifications, the EcoFlow Delta Max 2 weighs 23 kilos. It's 1 kilo heavier than the previous version. It's exactly the same size as the previous version. Its capacity is 2048 watts and it's up 32 watts. It's been changed to an LFP battery, which can do 3,000 cycles to 80% capacity. It was 800 cycles, so that's good. A built-in battery management system regulates all its vitals, including voltage, current, and temperature, keeping it safe and secure and built to stand the test of time. And with 3,000 cycles, that's about 10 years worth of use. You can use it with 2 backup batteries up to 6 kilowatt hours. There's still 4 main sockets on it, and they provide 2,400 watts in total, with a surge of up to 4,800 watts, which is slightly up on the previous version. It has an X boost facility, means it can power a 3,100 watt device, and that's up 100 watts. 2 ordinary USB 12 watt ports, 2 USB fast charge 18 watt ports, and they're better for mobile phones and the like. And more importantly, it's got 2 USB-Cs which provide 100 watts each, and that's great for charging your laptop. It's got a car charger socket for powering things like sat-nav and so on. Now, there's 3 ways to charge this. There's an Extreme fast charge, 2,300 watts, 10 amps. There's no power brick, it's just a direct plug-in. The solar input is slightly different. It's now a dual port, and it can take up to 1,000 watts of solar. The car charger will actually take forever to charge, I think about 8 hours, about the same. You can also mix charge in AC, solar and EcoFlow smart generator, which I don't have. It has a switch for slowing down the charging, perhaps if you're using charging overnight on cheaper electricity. The full recharge time for the EcoFlow Delta Max, an 80% charge, they say, is 53 minutes, which is about my experience. The previous one was 1.6 hours for a full charge. That's taking that 2,100 watts from the mains input. If you're charging that in your van, that's around 10 amps. So you want to be very careful when you're charging this in the van. You notice it's taking 10 amps from the main supply here on the motorhome. So if you're on a 10 amp hookup, you might be better putting that on slow charge. 21 hours on a car charger, and about 2.5 hours depending on how much solar you're getting. Obviously it'd be longer if charging both the EcoFlow Delta 2 Max and the backup batteries. So operating it, you press and hold the power button, you press the AC button. The LCD screen shows remaining time, remaining battery, warning lights, output lights. App shows the current charge and battery temperature, inputs and outputs, and it's useful for switching things on and off, particularly if you've got it in a locker at the time. It can work as an emergency power supply, but not for critical things like servers or anything like that, because it's not fast switching. You could use it for something like a fridge or a TV, of course. The EcoFlow Delta 2 Max is £1,899. That's £100 cheaper than the previous version. So typical use is home backup, if you've got blackouts and the like, up to 3,100 watts, or extra if you add the extra batteries. Here it is with the backup battery. That one. port. Best that these are both switched off first. There we go. So that's the connection between the two. Switch the main one on, and that switches that one on as well. The backup battery. Backup battery has 100% charge, and that has 86% connected. Its input is 1253 and its output is 1135. That's the hairdryer, 1135, and it's taking 1250 from the backup battery. So the backup battery would last about 2 hours before it started to use the battery. On here. And even with nothing really switched on, you can see that the backup battery is providing 30 something watts to the Delta 2 Max. So in this configuration here with the backup battery and the Delta 2 Max, you've got 4 kilowatt hours of power there. So it can power things like fridges, vacuum cleaners. We've used it to charge everything like phones, cameras, mics, e-bikes. It's great if you're planning for staying off grid for longer than a few days. So you can charge a USB-C device here. It shows you up there when it's plugged in. Yeah, so the USB-C is very useful if you want to charge a laptop. Just plug it into the USB-C port and it will charge a laptop, and that's very useful. The thing everyone wants to know is, will it make a cup of coffee? Okay, ignore the red light there, this needs decalcifying. But if you look on the display, it tells you what's going to happen. And I press the button. And there we go. Output 1600 watts. Starts off quite high there. And the thing about the coffee maker is it has quite complex requirements as far as the wattage is concerned. It's up and down all the time. 1600 watts whilst it's heating and pumping. So if you were, in theory, if you were running at that rate all the time, it would last for about an hour. But it's only on for a short while, a few minutes, whilst the coffee's made. You can see the percentage remaining on the thing, taking a bit of a hit there. It's 90% now. But that will make several cups of coffee, which is great if you're off grid and you're desperate for a decent cup of coffee. And the other question that gets asked is, can it power the motorhome? So I've got one of these leads. It's a mains to these blue type sockets. Just open it up. So I've got an extension lead plugged in the back of the EcoFlow Delta Max 2, and I'm going to run that lead outside. Right, not too much on in the motorhome, but the motorhome is now being powered from the AC mains on the Delta Max 2, and it's using 125 watts, and at that sort of level it would last for 14 hours according to the display. Now, the problem with this, of course, is you don't really want to flatten the battery on here and run the motorhome down as well. But in an emergency, this is really useful for charging the vehicle batteries. And if you look up on the display panel here, the lightning symbol means that's being charged by mains, so the leisure battery is being charged by the EcoFlow at the moment, and it's using 0.08 of an amp. It's drawing from the EcoFlow 1.9 amps, And obviously it might be useful, obviously, if you set a limit on here. You can set a limit on here, but I won't do that now. If you start to put things on, I put the awning light on. I haven't got the fridge on at the moment. I could put the fridge on. So the fridge is on mains electricity, and that's 255 watts. It's drawing now, and I've got quite a few lights on, so that's probably not helping. I haven't got the heating on. It's on manual and it's off at the moment. If I was to put it on 1 bar of electric, I'll turn the temperature up a bit, because it's already 20 in here, so we need to make sure it comes on. Right, so it's got the heating on. Had to whack it way up to get it to come on, and that's on 1 bar, which is effectively 1 kilowatt. So what's going on here? Yeah, so that's gone right up to 1296, which is almost as much as it was using to make the coffee, and it would last 1 hour for that. So this is 2000 watt hours, and it's doing just over 1000 watts. So if you were trying to heat the van as well as have all the lights on and everything, you're probably looking at an hour or probably less of capacity there. So if I turn this, make this go off, there we go, heating's off. We're back to 3 hours. So although it will charge the batteries, it will run the lights, it's not ideal for running the heating as well. Like I said, I was only using 1 bar there. There are 3 bars, so this can go up to 3 kilowatts. So my advice really, if you wanted to use the EcoFlow to charge the batteries in the motorhome, yeah, by all means, I think it will run that fine, but don't expect it to run the heating. What I would do if you need heating would put it on gas. Just use the gas heating, and that will be quite happily running the motorhome. It says at this sort of rate for 7 hours there. I don't really want to test it. I mean, I'd have to wait 7 hours to see if this goes flat, which it probably would. Will it run a hairdryer? Well, obviously it depends on the hairdryer, but this one is a 1200 watt Argos model, and helps if I switch the mains on. So there we go. Running at that sort of level, it would be 1 hour's worth of hair drying, or probably less than 1 hour, but a slower speed as well. 2 hours. But yeah, you could certainly dry your hair. You could certainly dry your hair. So it can power a fridge for 14 hours, a TV for 15 hours, a microwave for 1.3 hours, washing machine for 3.3 hours. So build quality. Well, the previous version's been rattling about a bit in the motorhome. It picked up a couple of scuffs. I think this will be the same. Nothing seriously gone wrong with that, so quite happy with that. Dislikes, well, the weight. These are seriously heavy units to lift in and out of lockers. It'd be better if you've got a garage or something like that on your motorhome. There's still no wireless charging with this, no carry case for the leads. The price may be a bit off-putting for people. What do I like about it? Well, there's no power brick. The huge power capacity, easy to carry handles, although it is heavy. The amazing fast charging, the fast USB sockets, and no shortage of mains sockets. So conclusions. Well, I'm pretty well prepared for most emergencies and a bit of off-grid backup. But if I was concerned with home backup, I might consider it for that. And if I lived in an area perhaps where there was power cuts and perhaps our business depended on having power. But I will be keeping this in the motorhome, in the locker just over here. But seriously, you need to think about how much extra weight you're adding, and do check your payload. If you've already got lithium batteries, solar-mounted solar panels, roof-mounted solar panels, inverters and battery-to-battery chargers, this is something you may not need. It would certainly be useful for those of us without all of that. And if you've installed solar panels on the roof, this is a very useful backup when the light isn't good, perhaps at night, or you're not getting much from the solar panels in midwinter. And if you change your motorhome, of course, this can come with you. You don't need to uninstall anything, as it is portable and not fixed. And there's a lot to be said for the portability of these units. Maybe something you may not be in the ideal position. You can move the EcoFlow and you can move solar panels. You can take it out in the garden and run the strimmer or the lawnmower if you've got an electric lawnmower. So I hope you found this useful, and it would really make my day if you can give us a thumbs up, and if you subscribe, even better. So thanks for watching, and we'll see you soon. Bye then.